Go for it.
Good morning, everyone. It's the one and only V, the Guerrilla Economist, coming to you live with my main man, El Cuco, where we bring you the news, the views, and all the information important to you. Check us out, roguemoney.net, Rogue Money on Twitter, YouTube, stream it, whatever the heck. We're everywhere, man. We're just everywhere. Every single podcasting app known to humanity. And we're launching some new sites that are under development. I don't know if we're clear to launch as of yet, Siege, are we?
I don't think we've received the green light all the way.
Not yet.
They're out there, but I think we're putting just the finishing touches on them now.
Yeah, I think probably next week. I think maybe Monday or Tuesday we should be out. So it'll be good. So we got some new stuff coming out, so it's going to be exciting. And folks, check out our sponsors, thecryptoschool.io, thecryptoschool.io, where you can learn about cryptos and you can learn about not just cryptos, but also how to trade them. Thecryptoschool.io, thecryptoschool.io. Get to the place where these guys will show you how to make money. And our liquidation platform will be coming online shortly. I'd say the next few days or so. So keep watching that. We're just putting the finishing touches on that. A lot of things being pushed out. A lot of things. With that out of the way, Siege, what's crack-a-lacking, brother?
Hey, good morning, V. It's Friday. I'm ready for the weekend. It's a big weekend. Yep.
So we got Cinco de Mayo tomorrow.
Cinco de Mayo, margaritas, tequila. So Cinco de Mayo, and then also for the Midwest people, the Derby, which I think actually has more of a national following as well. So yeah, it's a big weekend.
Big weekend. I'm going to go to my favorite Mexican joint. I'm going to order the most delectable of delights. And dude, it's just going to be pounding it. Just taking all sorts of foodie pictures while I love taking pictures of my food. I'm one of those dudes. With that out of the way, man, let's jump into Pat Buchanan. I love Pat. I've been a big fan of Pat since I was a kid.
Yeah, I need
all Pat Buchanan's books. He's been very instrumental in shaping my thinking. So let's get into it, man. Pat has a great memo to Trump, and that is to defy Mueller. And I think we need to frame this for the people. What he's saying, man. Go for it, Siege.
Let me get that brought up real quick. I'm switching out screens here real quick to bring in the actual memo to him. But yeah, Pat Buchanan is just so on point with this memo. And everyone that's been watching the news cycle the last 24 hours or watching the liberal media, they're all hyperventilating regarding Giuliani, going out there and admitting the fact that Trump did, do a settlement payment for this Stormy character. And I don't think really anyone matters, but I keep watching over and over. Everyone is getting it wrong. They're like, oh, Giuliani really screwed up. And oh my gosh, is it, nothing it happens by accident, especially with that type of communication. So obviously, Trump knew, the administration knew that Mueller was able to secure all these documents. He had all this proof. I think it was just a matter of time that it was going to be leaked out, that there was a payoff made to her, and that Trump was somehow, reimbursing. So I think they specifically put Giuliani out there to get in front of it, which, now they control the narrative that, yeah, we put it out there and, kind of explaining versus it being leaked to New York Times, someone else. And then they're like, oh, he lied. He hid all this information. So I think it was one of those disclosures on purpose, just to get out in front of it. I know that's not originally what we had, wanted to jump into as far as conversation, but there's just so many out there that are getting that narrative wrong and are like questioning, Giuliani and what he's doing. But this Pat Buchanan memo, and this is something Harley, kind of talked a little bit around this yesterday as well. And so basically Pat Buchanan has drafted a memo saying that if Donald Trump does not wish to collaborate in the destruction of his presidency, he will be refused to be questioned by the FBI or by a grand jury or by special counsel Robert Mueller and his malevolent minions. Should Mueller subpoena him, as he has threatened to do, Trump should ignore the subpoena and frame it for viewing in Trump Tower. If Mueller goes to the Supreme Court and wins an order for Trump to comply and testify to a grand jury, Trump should defy that in court as well. The only institution that is empowered to prosecute a president is Congress. If charges against Trump are to be brought, this is the arena, this is the forum where the battle should be fought and the fate of the future of the Trump presidency decided. The goal of Mueller's prosecutors is to take down Trump on the cheap. If they can get behind closed doors and make him respond in detailed questions to which they already have the answer, any misstep by Trump could be converted to a perjury charge. Trump has to score 100% on a test to which Mueller's team has all the answers in advance, while Trump must rely upon memory. Why take the risk, which is a great assessment by now. Witnesses have testified in ways that contradict what Trump has said. This plus the impulsiveness, propensity to exaggerate, and often rash responses to hostile questions. Mueller and his team are the ones who need this interrogation, which is just so true. So again, if Trump allows Congress to do this, the American people are going to be there, are going to come to his defense. The rallying cry that we've been, championing via is that there's Constitution. These things are in place. There's a Constitution to follow in terms of, the impeachment, the crime, and there's really no crime there. That's what I just keep scratching my forehead about, is that how many times do we have to prove that there was no collusion? How many times do we have to state that even if there was some type of a campaign finance and that these monies were misappropriated, it's a slap on the wrist regardless. And so hats off to Pat Buchanan. For our fans, this is a message. Please share this. Get this out, that we do not need, Donald J. Trump, when Mueller comes at you and says, I'm subpoenaing you, here's the subpoena, you need to put both middle fingers up and say, there you go, and take that.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. I mean, this whole thing is a dog and pony show. There's no law that's been broke. There's no collusion. And at the end of the day, it's not these assholes like Mueller that's going to do anything to impeach him. It has to be done with Congress. It has to be. This whole Mueller investigation, it's damn near 2 years. They found nothing. The real collusion that we want to talk about is the real investigation that is occurring that nobody else is mentioning, is the uranium one, is Hillary Clinton. That's what we're looking at. That's the real power play here. And of course, it doesn't get any traction with the retarded media that we have. If Trump is smart, just ignore these guys. There's nothing they can do by law. Only Congress can impeach the president. Force the impeachment. Force it, because it will get no traction in Congress, because the idiot Democrats know that it ain't going to fly as well. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to happen, man.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there's not even room right now for the Democrats' stomach going after him in terms of some type of impeachment, and that's why it's so important that Trump listens to people like Patrick Buchanan when he says, "Don't go testify. There's no need for you. It's up to them to prove something. It's not you to defend something you didn't do." So again, just going back to the facts that this entire investigation, and they can flip the narrative. It's time. It's time to flip the narrative, go on the offensive, exactly what you said, V. Bring forth all these charges, everything that we already know, reopen the email investigation, reopen Uranium One. There's so much there to go after, to present. So go on the offensive, get the right people in there, go in there, get the Giuliani's, because Giuliani, he doesn't only, he talks stuff, but he backs it up. That's the thing I like about him. And there's other people that can do that exact same thing. Get rid of these career politicians in these cabinet level positions that, they're just, all they're concerned about is doing everything politically correct. Hence Jeff Sessions, get them out, get in there with people that don't care, that want to fight for our country, that want to fight for the patriots, the people that created this huge nationalist, movement. That movement is going to be there to defend the presidency. Throw Trump out altogether. Forget about Trump. Let's talk about the presidency and what that stands for, and the Constitution as well. V.
Yep, 1,000%, my man. 1,000%. Support for Trump among black men have doubled ever since Kanye West came out with his MAGA meltdown, and that's the whole entire thing. That's why the Democrats want to stop this guy. They want to stop him. Okay. Because of the simple fact that if people wake up to what's really going on, if people wake up to the fact that, drop this whole ridiculous victimhood, this, that, and the other, people can actually focus on developing their lives. And right now, according to a poll taken on April 22nd, 2018, had Trump's approval rating among black men been at 11%, while the same poll on the 29th put it at 22%. So it literally doubled. And it should be noted that Reuters only samples slightly under 200 black males each week and slightly under 3,000 people overall. Trump experienced a small jump in approval among black people overall, spiking from 8.9% on April the 22nd to 16.5%. What the hell were the Democrats doing? Ooh, if he gets elected, the slavery is going to come back to America. Ooh, if he gets elected, it's going to be bad. Blacks are going to the plantation. No, the only plantation here, folks, is the Democrat plantation, is the liberal plantation. That's the only plantation here. And they don't want self-empowerment. Look, I'm not going to, go into the whole entire libtards and why they want things the way they do. We all know that. These are nihilistic sycophants. They're nihilistic demons. They are nihilistic death dealers. They want nothing but destruction. They want nothing but ruination. They wreck everything they touch. They've wrecked the Boy Scouts yesterday. They've wrecked the NFL. They've wrecked ESPN. They've wrecked anything that has to do with fun, enjoyment, speaking your mind, having freedom to express who you really are. They've wrecked it all. They've wrecked it all. That's who we are. These are the most tyrannical nut jobs. In a way, they're far worse than the religious right of the 90s, man. Far worse. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, again, the awakening that's happening in the masses, touching base on the African American community, touching base on the youth who are finally coming to terms and understanding that, look, this political system that we have is just so corrupt, and that is taking effect, nationally. So for people like Kanye West, who I honestly I don't know a whole lot about, but you also see people like Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley has kind of talked about that the same way, as far as black people have been voting Democrat for how many years, and how far has that gotten them? So time and time again, we're seeing more people understand just how broke the system is, and the need to change things dramatically. And this is probably, I hate to say this, but this is our last chance to get this right. I don't think many people understand that this is the last chance for us. And even though Trump may not do everything that I'm happy about, again, if we had a Hillary Clinton administration, things would have been kicked into overdrive. You would have seen a ban on weapons. You would have seen things would be so much different at this point. So if we don't rally the troops to defend the presidency, defend the people that voted him, then that's shame on us. That's shame on us for just resting on our laurels and not doing anything about it. So it's time. It's time to go on the offensive in the event that the media, the Democrats, whatever, if they try anything to impeach anything else, the American people will be there. We will be there to defend, and we need to get that message out, V.
1,000%. 1,000%, man. Israel complains, buddy. They're complaining that Syria is defending itself. They're not happy about that. They should have the right and the power to go in and defy airspace, defy borders, and take their own volition with their own doctrine of preemption. Last month, Russia said it will deliver free of charge, folks, its advanced S-300 missile system to the al-Assad government. Moscow will supply the Syrian government with advanced S-300 missile systems. And citing two military Russian sources, the newspaper said that the system, which will be provided to the Syrian president, will be free and will arrive in Syria very soon. The deep staters do not like it, man. They don't like it one bit. They don't want they don't want Syria to defend themselves. And you can see the deep state having their own little meltdown. So it's quite hilarious to see this. Both Syria and Iran are protected by S-300, and eventually the newer S-400s will also be available. Look, this whole war thing has to stop. Okay. The younger generation of Israel need to wake up. They need to get out of this mindset. I mean, see, when you look at it, man, I think the baby boomers have really screwed up the world, man. You ever notice that? It's the whole generation. My God.
Well, I think for so long the media, that people were not awake to the propaganda, the conditioning that the media even I'm guilty of that. You think back, 15, 20 years ago when, you were listening to the news and they said, yeah, Iraq's got these weapons of mass destruction that, yeah, we need to go in and destroy them and, kick their butt and everything. So, yeah, so I completely agree. And I really hope that there is an opportunity that China, Russia, can work, with Israel. I really think this is going to take more than a U.S. doing, kind of like how Trump had to pressure China to get involved with North Korea. I kind of see that same thing evolving here. I really think that there needs to be, more pressure for, Russia and China to say, hey, Israel, let's sit down, let's talk about this. We're not going to allow people to, invade your national sovereignty to, Netanyahu's always out there saying that, Iran is out there to destroy Israel. When society's not going to let that happen. We're kind of finished with wars. We're kind of over that period of that. Let's broker in an era of peace and prosperity for everyone. V.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, man. It's gone past the point of being ridiculous. Sick of war, sick of all of it and how it goes. I spoke about this many times, and the elusive Pepe Escobar, whom I love his work, love his writing, has a great article out. It's over at it's in various locations. I think it's on Sputnik, it's on Russia Insider, it's on RT, it's on Asia Times, a couple of the news sources. But this is one I poached this one from Russia Insider. Iran is a key partner in China-Russia integration. They will support her in nuclear crisis against Israel. Folks, when you have two of the biggest superpowers, okay, 2 out of the 3 biggest superpowers supporting you, and you have the largest economy in the world, which is China, supporting you. Folks, if you don't realize that is the reality. China is the largest economy in the world, not us. Okay, our phony baloney paper economy just does not compete. Okay, 2 summits, the cross-border handshake that shook the world between Kim and Moon and Panmunjom and Xi and Modi's cordial walk by the lake in Wuhan may have provided the impression that the Eurasian integration is entering a smoother path. Not really. It's all back to confrontation. Predictably, the actual working Iran nuclear deal, known by the ungainly acronym of JCPOA, is at the heart of it. Think of this, folks. The Korea situation is really smoothing itself out. Okay? The situation with India and China, little border spats that they've had, that's smoothing itself out. The Ukraine issue is a dead deal, and Ukraine is going down in flames as a failed state thanks to the deep state. So what is the deep state's next move? What is the next move? The day before yesterday, which I think was Tuesday, CJ, I think I really broke down the whole Iran deal. Okay. Really explained it to you guys that there's no damn, satellite nuclear facility being built in North Syria. I told you the whole entire deal behind the Iran debacle is centered around the petrodollar. What type or what type of negotiating would it be? The Trump style of negotiating, which is help to broker peace in the Korean Peninsula, or is it the deep state negotiating, which leads to further crisis and war? Which side will prevail is right now up for grabs, and let's see what happens. Okay, because again, it seems like the world is moving on a smoother track right now. Let's see what kind of monkey wrench the deep staters throw into it to screw things up. Faithful to the slowly evolving Eurasia integration roadmap, Russia and China are at the forefront of supporting Iran. China is Iran's top trading partner, especially because of its energy imports. Iran, for its part, is a major food importer. Russia aims to cover this front. Chinese companies are developing massive oil fields in Yadavarn and North Azerbaijan. China CNPC, which is China National Petroleum, took a significant 30% stake in a project to develop South Pars, the largest natural gas field in the world. Folks, 3 years ago, I talked about South Pars. I talked about a certain Christophe de Margerie. Christophe de Margerie was the CEO of Total Petroleum, who was murdered Okay, he was assassinated by the deep state because Christophe de Margerie of Total Petroleum, he was very good friends with the Russians. And Total Petroleum, up until 2006, was helping to build and develop the South Pars natural gas fields in Iran, which is the largest natural gas field deposit in the world. Now, do you see why they hate Iran? Do you see clearly what? Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you? Is it clear? Okay. You have Iran, which has the largest oil deposits, and compared much bigger than Saudi Arabia's, and they have a natural gas deposit that's even bigger than Qatar's. Okay, that's South Pars. Okay, Total was helping to develop it. BNP Paribas was one of the banks that was used to clear the funds in order to get funding into the South Pars region with Total Petroleum, and they were, what happened? Well, BNP got fined a couple of $1 billion. Total got fined, and then a few years later, right after meeting some energy magnates in St. Petersburg, Russia, Christophe de Margerie, the CEO of Total Petroleum, was assassinated. Okay, he was assassinated. He was taken out. It was terrible. So this picking up the slack, what China's doing, the CNPC, because they know they're not going to do nothing to screw with China. China is bringing its full might, its full weight into the South Pars region to develop the largest natural gas field in the entire planet. It's a $3 billion deal, is upgrading Iran's oil refineries, including the contract between Sinopec and Iran's national oil company, which is NIOC, to expand the decades-old Abadan oil refinery. In a notorious trip to Iran right after signing the JCPOA in 2015, President Xi Jinping backed an ambitious plan to increase bilateral trade by tenfold to $600 billion in the next decade. Huge. For Beijing, Iran is absolutely a key hub of the new Silk Road. Folks, I've told you this millions of times. Iran is very central to the new Silk Road, the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI. The key BRI project is a $2.5 billion, 926-kilometer high-speed railway from Tehran to Mashhad. For that, China came up with a $1.6 billion loan, the first foreign-backed project in Iran after signing the JCPOA. There's wild chatter in Brussels concerning the impossibility of European banks financing deals in Iran due to the ferocious, wildly oscillating Washington sanctions obsession. We are the most unstable, schizophrenic country when it comes to foreign policy in the entire world. Our foreign policy jiggers every single nation on planet Earth with fear, uncertainty, doubt, disdain, contempt, and hatred. That's what it is. They hate what they do, CJ, is they attacked us on 9/11s because they hate us for our freedoms. That's why they hate us. They hate us because I'm so free, Siege. Every time I, go out to an airport, have to take off my shoes, have to get frisked. I'm so free. I'm reminded how free I am. When you got to go do your taxes every year, or you take a paycheck, look at what's taken out of there and remind yourself how free you are. If you're a small business owner, all the regulations and licenses and certs you got to pay reminds you how free you are. It's a joke. The fact that we have a media industrial complex, a military incompetent complex, we have a telecom everything against us reminds us how free I am. And that's why the crazy jihadis attacked us, is because they hate us for our freedom. They don't like our freedom, and they hate us. They hate us for our freedom. Think about that. How stupid, how ignoramus of a comment is this, right? No, they hate us because of our murderous foreign policy, our ridiculous foreign policy. So the European banks are like, look, we can't rely on the Americans. Why? Because the Americans break every damn treaty ever signed. There ain't a damn treaty we've signed in this country that we uphold. Not a damn one. And the worst part is, folks, it's done in our name. It's done in your name. It's done in my name. Okay? The Export-Import Bank of China so far has financed 26 projects in Iran, everything from highway building and mining to steel producing, totaling $8.5 billion in loans. China Export and Credit Insurance Corp, Sinosure, signed a memorandum. I mean, this is amazing. Okay, and Russia's doing the same thing. Everything about Russia and China is investing in Iran. They're making money. They're signing deals in the tens of hundreds of billions of dollars where we could be doing the same thing. But instead, like what Pepe Escobar says over here, Iran is guilty because we say so. So you compare what Russia and China is doing to win not just Iran, but it's their policy to win the world. Hey, we'll give you fair loans at a very low interest and fair rate. Hey, we'll give you this. Hey, we'll help develop that for you. Hey, let's partner on this deal. Hey, let's partner on that. Hey, let's sign a $600 billion deal here. Let's sign a $2 billion there over there. Let's develop this for $1.9 billion. Money going everywhere. What's our policy? Barely certified as the U.S. Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo's first foreign trip to Saudi Arabia and Israel amounts in practice to briefing both allies on the imminent Trump withdrawal of the GCPOA on May 12th. Subsequently, this will imply a heavy new batch of U.S. sanctions. Riyadh, via Beltway darling Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, will be all in on the anti-Iran front. Because, look, folks, man, here's the deal. Saudis and the Iranians have been fighting a proxy war for the last 30, 40 years. Ain't stopping now. Saudi's pipelines are pumping water instead of oil. Saudi Arabia is running out of oil. Saudi Arabia kicked off the whole entire Syria war debacle. Why? Because in the hopes that the Bashar al-Assad's regime would fall, and then the Saudis, with the help of the Qataris, will run pipelines right through Syria. Saudi Arabia started this whole entire nonsense because they're running out of energy and they're in an energy war. It's a resource grab. Why do you think MBS's first thing that he does is try to diversify Saudi Arabia's economy away from oil? Why? Because they're running out of it. It's getting harder to do. It's getting very difficult to do. Okay? In parallel, the Trump administration may demand it, but MBS won't relinquish the failed blockade of Qatar or the humanitarian disaster that is the war on Yemen. Why Saudi Arabia and Yemen? Same thing that Saudi Arabia tried to do in Syria. Same thing why Saudi Arabia funded ISIS. Same thing why Saudi Arabia was funding Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra. Because of energy. It's a resource war, folks. It's a resource war. Don't let the euphemisms of terrorists, ISIS. You folks are too smart for that. What's certain is there won't be a concerted GCC front against Iran. Qatar, Oman, and Kuwait see it as counterproductive. That leaves only Saudi Arabia and the Emirates, plus a relevant, barely disguised Saudi vassal, Bahrain. Emirates not going to go along so much with it as well, because the Emirates are a rival to the Saudis. Okay, they're a banking rival, and in fact, the Emirates have a more diversified economy. On the European front, the French president Emmanuel Macron has stepped up as a sort of unofficial king of Europe. He is the king of Poodlestan, folks. The king of Poodlestan, King Emmanuel Macron. The Lord of Poodlestan, leveraging himself to Trump as a likely enforcer of restrictions on Iranians' ballistic missile program. Like someone's going to take the leader of Poodlestan seriously. As well as dictating Iran to stay out of Syria and Yemen. Macron has made a direct and patently absurd connection between Tehran abandoning its nuclear enrichment program, including the destruction of the uranium stockpiles enriched less than 20%, and being the guilty party, helping Baghdad and Damascus defeat Daesh and the Salafi jihadi outfits. No wonder Tehran, as well as Moscow and Beijing, is connecting recent massive U.S. weapons deal with Riyadh, as well as MBS's hefty investments in the West, to Washington and Paris' attempt to renegotiate JCPOA. At the end of the day, folks, what is happening is this. The world of adults and grown-up and mature people who have thinking heads continues to march forward. The world of idiots, which we see in the West, and supported by such moronic regimes as that of Saudi Arabia, the soon-to-be failed state of Saudi Arabia, is the same old ridiculous insanity. You cannot keep doing the same thing. Now, I gave my hats off to Trump when he helped broker that deal with the Korean Peninsula. I want Trump to normalize relationships with Iran. Okay, and that means letting the world know that Iran is not, quote, the biggest sponsor of terror. It's just not true. Okay, it's not even the least bit. Okay, these are the things that must be done. Is it time? I mean, I'm sick of war. Country's been around for 240 some odd years. We've only had maybe 30 years of peace, maybe even less than 30 years of peace in 240 some odd years. It's pathetic. I'm done. Our economy is on the breaking point. Our troops are stressed in. There's 934 military bases in 139 countries. This is stupid. It's about time we fix this whole entire thing, man.
Yeah. Very
anyway, you picked the last article. Go for it, brother.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting article on Coinivore, and it specifically talks about. Hey, where'd it go? Here we go. It talks about the CFTC chairman who must have some either younger kids or whatever, but he's out there advocating.
He's cool, man. Giancarlo, his daughter's into Bitcoin. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering where that came from, but he's like, hey, we really need to think through any type of potential, crypto, regulation. If it even needs to be called that, it probably needs to be, more in place to eliminate any type of fraud, that type of activity. And so he's been coined. He has a term. He's been coined now, the crypto dad, I guess, from his comments that he made. So he, quote unquote, we need to take a moment to respect the generation's interest in this new instrument, Bitcoin. Giancarlo said, but with little bit of attention and respect, and respond with policy initiatives that are thoughtful and forward looking. So I think this is someone that understands it, someone of influence. And I think the regulators have looked back and said, look, there's not a whole lot we can do to begin with right now. So, maybe it is the time to allow this. And he has a very good understanding of it. So that makes sense that his daughter's involved because, he talks about the utility aspect of it. He talks about, holding it for potential, investment, all those things. So again, we need more people like this who understand it versus the people who are going to be out there. Oh, it's used, for terrorist activities and everything else. So again, the momentum, the naysayers regarding, the regulations, the government's involvement. I think we're starting to see the tide shift a little bit because he's not the only one. I've heard some other political, people that have stated regarding the cryptocurrencies and the potential that it could bring. So I just wanted to share this with our fans because I think it's a pretty cool article.
Yeah, it's a good article. I love Giancarlo, the guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's an open-minded guy. He's a fair individual, and we need more people like him, man. Absolutely, we need more people like him. With that being said, we're at the end of the program. 1 p.m. we have the boys joining us. Cowboy and Z will be joining us for Rogue Coin. So stay tuned for that. If you missed the last broadcast, it was quite fun. It was quite fun. We had Jay Snip show up, and he got his nuts kicked up to his throat. It was wonderful.
Well, I think you guys did everything very respectively.
No, it was respectful.
Yeah,
it was great. It was very respectfully done, and no disrespect to Snippy. He's a cool dude. I like Snippy. I just don't like the trader guy that he uses was a freaking con man. But
right.
But Snip himself, maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't. But it is what it is. I like Snip. He's a cool dude. Snip, join us, man. Join the dark side. Join the winning side, bro. That's all we got to say. Anyway, the boys will be showing up at 1 p.m.
Excellent. Yeah, awesome. And then also later on tonight, I'm not sure if I'll get time to get it uploaded, but I did do a Rogue 420 interview as well with James Bradley from FOS. They're doing some very creative, innovative stuff, utilizing lighting and technologies applied to growing, and the results have been remarkable as far as the yields and everything. So great interview. And then also, real quick, also happy anniversary to my mother and father-in-law. You know, they listen to our broadcast every morning. So happy anniversary.
Oh, man, they do?
They do. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, she listens.
I use very colorful language sometimes, Siege.
No, it's all good. It's all good. She listens. My mother-in-law listens to Cuss with Gus too. So
that's good.
We're the PG version, so everything's good.
Exactly.
And for Rogue Money, yeah. So don't go too far. 1 p.m. today. So Rogue Coin, and then everyone have a great day. Yeah. So great show, V.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. Thank you all for listening in. We're over and out. Take it away, El Cuco.